go back to the game, and this is going to be game 3. Once more, if you just joined the channel, welcome guys, I'm Ajmora, joined by Zero Empires. We're casting this match from the Group C of the 1 vs 1 Arabia Invitational Tournament. It's going to be the third game, Mentalist winning by 2-0 so far, and game 3, Brits War, Zach.
Yeah.
I guess a little bit surprising.
Surprised.
Nope, not for you.
Think? Well, I wasn't surprised really. I think it's 50-50 between Britons and Celts. So I think MbL, in my opinion, would be more favorable to the Celts since he plays a lot of Black Forest. But the Britons are a really formidable civ on Arabia, and I think it's probably 50-50 between those two civs.
Yeah, I guess I was sort of expecting MbL to get the Britons because he loves to micro, right? And I think that's one of his most recognizable skills, that he's very, very good at microing units. And considering the Britons have got the strongest archers in the whole game, would be a sort of an expected pick in my opinion. But about Mentalist, I don't know. I didn't see him pick this against Tim, right? He went for, I don't want to say which, what did he go for? But he went for some rather unexpected picks. Yeah, he went for some rather unexpected picks. Not doing that this time around. Now let's see how this will play out for both players. Let's take a look at the map and start with Mentalist, Zach.
Yeah, Mentalist map, I mean, just looking at the mini-map, it does look quite open, but that back gold may be, somewhat easier to defend. If we look over at this south side of his base, he's got this wood line and this oasis, but if he takes the time to wall up between the wood line at the edge of the map and the tree line in front of the oasis here, it's a very small wall with a couple of palisades, and that actually keeps the left side of his base, where these berries, the stone, and maybe even that gold is fairly safe. I don't think it's too bad. It's very open across the front, however, and it is certainly an uphill battle if he decides to hold somewhat close to his TC. Bear in mind those hills are pretty far forwards, and that could be awkward for him later on.
What did you like? I guess he can try to protect the gold at the left side as well, right? If he just walls right into the forest there at the left side of his map, he's probably going to be alright. Now let's try to take a look at MbL's map. He seems to have a very safe gold pretty much at the back of his base. And take a look at the back of his base. Looks like the back itself can be very easily wallable as well. There's only a couple of palisades needed right there from that forest to the cliff, and a couple of palisades here from the cliff to the edge of the map. So looks to me like the map from MbL is not too bad. He's got a very nice wood as well.
Finally, he gets an okay map. I mean, this isn't amazing by any means, because his second and his third gold are in awkward positions for the later stages of the game. And so far, all of these games have gone pretty, well, fairly long. I guess the last game was a very long one, but I think that's more down to the civ choice than anything, as well as the way it was played, of course. But that main gold for MbL is nice and safe. It should be a really easy wall for him on this left side, and I think, yeah, he's certainly got a little bit of a better map this time around. However, I do want to point out that, a lot of players, or I suppose newer players, they always forget about the Oasis and how units can walk around between the water and the trees. And so there's going to be a few palisades required for MbL on the front as well here, but it's certainly a pretty nice natural wall-off for him across the front of his TC.
And let's take a look at what the strategy is going to be from both players. And right now, on the point of view of MbL, you can see a barracks being dropped, and that surely indicates we're going to see a Dark Age rush from him. What about Mentalist? Mentalist has got 4 villagers on wood and a barracks going up as well, and he's doing the exact same walls he sort of suggested. Zach, you can see that he's walling a little bit here to the right side with a couple of houses. I guess a couple of palisades are going to be made from the cliff to the edge of the map, making sure the right side of his base is going to be absolutely protected. He's sending more than 1 villager to gold, so maybe more than just 3 militia.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's...
No, he's sending them back.
No.
Sending it back. Sending it back.
Usually players will go, if they're going to go for man-at-arms, they'll throw 2 villagers on the gold, but they'll usually wait a little longer. We could see a couple of more militia, though. I mean, Mentalist's going back with the villagers to the gold mine now, so... Oh, no, he changed his mind again.
Once more, changed his mind.
Farm. He just doesn't know what's going on right now, but... yeah, it should be a standard 3 militia for each player, but maybe going into man-at-arms. I mean, it depends. It all depends on how the the Drush goes, but going into Man-at-Arms is certainly not out of the realms of possibility. And you see MbL now starting with this wall as well. I think he's going to go and wall his entire section of the map by the looks of things.
Yeah, looks like he's gonna wall half of his map, but to be fair, I do like these walls. They give him a lot of space. He has a lot of space to boom if that is what he wants to do. As far as I can see, one eventually big problem would be that he's only got one gold saved, right? He's only got one gold inside his walls. He's got a second one here at the front, very much far away, and he's got another one here as well. So as far as I can tell, only one gold inside his walls, which could be a problem at some point.
Yeah, as the game goes on and it gets to like late castle and you need to start getting the map control and all that stuff, yeah, those golds could be awkward. I've also noticed as well that MbL has missed 2 of his sheep on this left-hand side. They're still just sitting there on that hill, and that's awkward because obviously the Britons do have that sheep gather bonus, and it's a nice thing to have. It's a small bonus, but it's certainly a good bonus in the early game. And missing those 2 sheep means that, well, he's lost 200 natural food, and he's also lost the opportunity to take advantage of his civ bonus there. But the militia in the front now fighting.
Yeah, let's see how will this fight go on. I don't like for MbL that he does not have a scout there. I'm not sure if he actually lost it. No, does not seem to be like he lost it. He's not fighting with one of his militia. He's gonna lose this pretty badly. Anyway, I guess he won't be very bothered about that because look at his base is absolutely and completely safe.
Yeah, but that's awkward, isn't it? I mean, this is such a bad fight for MbL there. And Mentalist had the hill advantage, he had his scout nearby. I don't know what MbL was doing by sending his militia out and not sending the scout with them. You should always try and send your scout along with your militia, because it's just an extra military unit to help fight. It can be the difference between winning or losing the Drush. But like you say, maybe MbL shouldn't be too concerned because, well, he's fully walled up and he's going up to the feudal age quite safely. He's taking the deer on the right side, and Age of Walls, it seems, because Mentalist doing the same.
Age of Walls, and looks like we might be heading into a similar game from the second one, the one we just saw. And the only thing I can sort of explain myself is that he wanted to keep the scout at the wall, at the side of the wall, because he had a couple of villagers walling there. But then again, once he spots the Drush, he knows that villager is going to be absolutely safe, right? Now, a little bit of weird decision there by MbL. Anyway, both players are surely going to go for a fast castle, for a Drush fast castle. Taking a look at the resources, looks like Mentalist is doing a better job at that.
Yeah, at the moment, he does seem to be ahead on those resources, but you have to bear in mind MbL is taking the deer, so the resources in the bank don't necessarily relate to the resources the player actually has when he drops off his next load, since the villagers on the deer obviously carry more, and now, if you look at the resources, they're actually very close. And I think it's going to be very close indeed. One thing to note, MbL does have an additional villager out at this point.
Okay, that's interesting to point out, and I wanted to say that looks to me like MbL does not have enough farms to go for a fast castle after a Drush, but that is obviously compensated by those deer that he's collecting at the back, so very nicely spotted there by Zero Empires, and we can take a look here at Mentalist. Looks like he's gonna click right now, and that's a 14-minute 30 click, that's a 14-minute click from Mentalist. MbL's gonna be a little bit behind, and probably is going to have one more villager as well, just as you mentioned. There he goes. It's going to be a little bit late. This is not really the standard click time. I think Mentalist was a little bit closer to it with those 14 minutes 30, but MbL is going to be safe. There's no way Mentalist is going to break in, and he's going to have one more villager.
Yeah, this is going to be nice. I mean, one more villager, but also about 25 seconds behind going up to the next stage, so it kind of works out the same for both players at this point. I'd say they were basically neck and neck right now. If anything, I'd say that maybe Mentalist was further ahead. He's grabbed the extra sheep from MbL. I don't know if he's taken them back to his TC and actually used them, but, it's a small thing. And right now, Mentalist has some kind of map control as well, since he still has his 2 militia alive, though I don't think they're going to stay alive for long, as MbL starts making some archers now on this left side.
Can just snipe them off with no problem. He can see the 2 archery ranges, and when you see a Brits war, you can be sure both players are going to go for archers. What makes them so special is because the archers, they get an extra range just from reaching Castle Age if they got another extra range when they reach Imperial Age. So going for archers is pretty much the standard unit composition from a Brit player, and I do have to say that I think this kind of game might actually favor MbL, just because I think it's a little bit better when it comes to the micromanagement of his units.
Well, I mean, we'll have to see if that micro comes into play or not. I personally love to see a good micro fight between two top players like this, and I hope we get to see that. I mean, if Mentalist plays like he's played so far this tournament, you may try and avoid micro battles, and he might just try and take the fights that he knows he's got the advantage. Let's say MbL overextends, he pushes too far, then Mentalist will take advantage of that and fight a good fight without needing to micro. And you know, there's ways that you can try and approach the game without needing to micro, but it is still something that is, you know, a really important thing to keep in mind, and something that I agree MbL should have the edge on here.
And that's
I also noticed as well, MbL has a Siege Workshop already.
Ooh, where does he have it? Let's take a look at that. Yeah, there it is. The Siege Workshop is there. Of course, MbL is not going to be bothered about these militia. Apparently, they're still trying to be funny here somewhere. There it is, here at that house. Anyway, I wanted to point out what a ridiculous fast reaction was from MbL right there when he saw the crossbowman for Mentalist approach. He just went back right away with them. And let's try to take a look at the upgrades. That's a +2 attack for Mentalist. That's only a +1 attack for MbL, so probably wants to invest a little bit further into economy, and only a little bit later gonna try to make that Bodkin arrow upgrade.
Yeah, now the thing I find interesting here is that, you know, MbL's gone straight into that Siege Workshop, and he's got the Mangonel out now on the right-hand side. Now, normally, a Mangonel is a super scary thing, and in a Britain war, it's still a little bit scary. But the thing with Brits is the extra range. It's a huge thing, because they actually outrange the Mangonel, which no other Civ can do in the Castle Age with crossbows, and it really makes the Mangonel a little less effective. So, MbL is gonna hope that Mentalist is not paying too much attention here, and we'll have to see now as he comes in. Will Mentalist try and micro, or will he just get out the way, or will he get flattened?
I would be surprised if Mentalist is not watching it. The problem for him is going to get trapped here. He's going to be losing that army for sure. He got he got 4 villagers, if I'm not mistaken. So in my opinion, even if he loses everything, there might be a nice trade. And there it is, the Mangonel shot.
There you go.
Flattening everything that Mentalist has got there. A nice job here by MbL. He got everything that Mentalist has got there, but he lost 4 villagers.
Yeah, I think it was kind of a nice trade. I think at this stage of the game, I'd be pretty happy to take down 4 vills. It's still early stage. It's like, you know, a 10% of your opponent's economy nearly. But at this stage, yeah, MbL has a really big military lead now. That Mangonel doing some nice work, and he played well to catch Mentalist off guard like that. No amount of micro was going to save Mentalist there in that situation. But we see a Siege Workshop from Mentalist now as well, and oftentimes, you know, when one player makes the step takes the step to add a Siege Workshop, the other player will mirror it, because it can be a real uphill battle trying to out micro these Mangonels. So Mentalist having to fall back, take it a little bit slowly, and just kind of play the defensive game for now. And this is where MbL could really start to push an advantage.
I do have to say that I do worry a little bit for that gold of Mentalist. He doesn't have the possibility to put a TC anywhere near the gold, and that means if MbL actually manages to break in, which he surely will, I don't see a possibility for Mentalist to stop him from just moving in. After that house and those palisades get destroyed, Mentalist could be in a very dire situation here, in my opinion. He will need to defend an army. He seems to have less numbers. He doesn't have his Mangonel right there just yet, and MbL's got a Mangonel of his own.
Yeah, very good fight here for MbL if he keeps pushing towards this gold. There is that Mangonel from the back for Mentalist, but if MbL trades 1 for 0 with that Mangonel, this could be game-ending for him at this stage. But let's see how he manages to push in here. Obviously, Mentalist clinging onto that hill, but the micro
is beautiful. MbL winning this so hard so far. He's going to be able to clean everything. He had his Mangonel at the top of the hill, and that means his Mangonel is going to survive one of the shots. He even survives a second shot,
wow.
And it seems like all the luck.
The gold going down.
Yeah, it looks to me like all the luck he wasn't having all the other maps is just coming back now, and that means that's GG gold for Mentalist. Mentalist needs to search for another gold. Does he have one, Zach? I can't see it. I can't see a third one.
He's got the gold at the top, and the third gold is also at the top, so, I mean, that's no gold now for Mentalist. That was so good for MbL, and that just demonstrates just how important hills are. Had that hill, you know, had MbL not been at the top of that hill at that very moment, MbL would have probably lost that fight, as Mentalist would have been able to trade 1 for 0 with the Mangonel. But as it stands, MbL took the Mangonel, he's taking the villages, and this is awesome for him. He's so far ahead of villages right now, and without any gold, how is Mentalist going to keep making making crossbows? How's he going to keep making mangonels? It's a real uphill fight for him.
Certainly not going to be easy. That was an incredible job by MbL. What a beautiful micromanagement we just saw there. Microing the crossbows, microing the mangonel. I guess it's not really lucky that he survived 2 shots. He obviously took the top of the hill because he had more numbers and could do that. A little bit unlucky for Mentalist sides, I would say, to actually not be able to kill a mangonel after 2 shots.
It's hurting.
That really doesn't happen every day. And take a look at the villager numbers now. It's a 10 villager advantage for MbL. This guy is looking really good so far.
Yeah, this is huge. I mean, even if Mentalist now cleans up this crossbow army at the back, which he should be able to do, it's just, yeah, he's taking so much eco damage. MbL now has just got so much map control. Everything is sort of on his terms at this point. He can really, direct the game how he wants, and he's gone up to 4 TCs now as well. And yeah, he's just going to really start to pull ahead by a huge amount at this point.
And trying to take a mangonel with 4 crossbows seems to be a little bit too much. He was trying to do a lot of dancing right there, trying to do that, but Mentalist was too smart for that. A couple of nice stand ground shots made sure that would not happen. And let's take a look at the economy. I can see 4 TCs up for MbL. What about Mentalist? Only on 3 TCs. He's down on villagers. He seems to be hurting for food as well. One of his TCs keeps getting idle. So, bad situation here for Mentalist. This could be the opportunity that MbL was looking for all the time.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just looking right now, and I see that Mentalist does not have Wheelbarrow at this stage, and MbL is only just getting Wheelbarrow now, but that's really just going to catapult his economy forwards. It's just going to be huge. He's got a lot of farms up, and as he works now to get ready to go up to the Imperial Age, he's spending gold and he's spending wood on his military. All that surplus food should start building up once that Wheelbarrow upgrade completes, and MbL is just looking set to cruise on to the Imperial Age comfortably. He's also adding a 5th town center on the gold there. So he's starting to take a little bit more of that excess gold that's on the front of his map, which is really important going forwards. It shows he's thinking ahead at this stage.
And that's really important. Well, you don't see every day 5 TCs with Britons. Do keep in mind that Britons do have cheaper TCs. They have got cheaper town centers when it comes to the wood count, not so much when it comes to the stone. And sort of depends if MbL actually wants to go for longbows or just stick to those arbalests and rams. Those are 2 possibilities. I guess people, of course, like to go for longbows. They've got 1 more range. They also got more attack than the arbalests. That could be an option. And in that case, I probably wouldn't agree with putting a TC on that gold. I would much rather put a castle on that gold, especially because MbL knows he's very far in front so far.
Yeah, I think MbL will make a castle though.
There it is. There it is. There it is.
Oh, it's that. Whoa,
yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's just perfect.
That's great.
It just gotta block both gold from Mentalist.
Yeah, that is really great. It's on top of the hill. He's blocking the bottom gold. He's definitely blocking the top gold, and he's gonna click imp any second now. You were saying earlier about the different, crossbow into arbalest, and then also longbows. Obviously, I think it makes sense to go straight to arbalest if you obviously have the crossbows, but overall, most players I think would agree that going longbows is the better choice a lot of the time. But you also have to bear in mind that they are slower. You need the castles. You're relying on the castles. So keeping a good mix of both, I think, is really the best option. Start adding the longbows in, but keep making the arbalest as well.
Yeah, definitely agree. I would much prefer to see longbows, but I'm just wondering why would MbL want to drop a 5th TC? He doesn't, definitely not because of the boom. He wouldn't need a 5th TC at this point. I would much rather see a castle protecting that gold because he knows he's going to be up before Mentalist. There's no way Mentalist is going to be up before him. And this castle is just all too perfect for MbL, in my opinion.
It is really nice. He's starting that longbow production as well, and yeah, I mean he's holding this hill. This is what I was talking about right at the start of this game. I said this hill could be a real pain for Mentalist because it's just a little bit far away from his TC. If he was to build out on the hill, it would be really risky because it's so far out. He'd have to wall so far away from his town center. And now MbL taking advantage of that hill. He's pushing down on there, and he's got some knights mixed in as well. What do you think of the knights here?
Yeah, just to make sure you can snipe out the mangonels. That would be my guess. I think he wants to have them there to make sure the mangonels can be killed in case the crossbows don't manage to do that. And in my opinion, once Mentalist realizes that MbL is up, I think he's gonna call it GG at that point. I really don't see a chance for Mentalist to come back from this.
I think so too. I think once MbL hits him, I think we may see a GG. If we don't see the GG at that point, then give it 10 minutes, and I think MbL will probably have it. But hey, Mentalist could always make a comeback. Let's bear in mind here he's doing Elite Skirmisher, which, you know, it's not ideal because they still get massively outranged, but at least it's something. They can still somewhat counter mass longbows. In this fight here, it's actually going to be pretty nice because MbL's not trying to keep the range, but
there it
GG
is.
from
There it
Mentalist.
is. Imperial Age is reached by MbL, and that's the immediate GG call here by Mentalist. Just as we ready for a comeback, says MbL. He's feeling confident. He's feeling confident here. Let me update the score. And I guess Zach, what happened was pretty much what we were sort of expecting to see, right? Superior micromanagement with the crossbows from MbL clearly won him the game this time around.